Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean in rose gold gem set with black lacquer dial. This is a 42mm dive watch that is 16.1 millimeters thick, 48 millimeters from lug to lug, and has a 20mm spacing between the lugs. On my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see it wears well, but you probably couldn't get away with a much smaller wrist than this. I would say you probably want a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference or larger, so no smaller than mine to wear this watch well. You can see it's fairly tall. It's not going to fit underneath most dress cuffs, but it will fit underneath most jacket cuffs. That said, this is not a watch that you buy to disappear beneath a sleeve. In contrast to most of the Planet Oceans, you have a alligator leather strap. Now, most of these are going to come with textile, calf skin, rubber, or bracelet. The alligator is your cue that this is something more. This is a high luxury diving timepiece. We have a fully bolstered and integrated end profile that traces both the arc of the lugs and the curve of the case. We have large rectangular scale that diminishes down to a small rectangular scale. It's a semi-gloss finish. It has a strap folded edge with a monotone stitch calfskin on the bottom. And take note, this is a brand new Omega factory strap. We have a buckle that is a folding clasp. You can see that the logo is polished. The remainder is of satin finish. Press the two triggers, pop it open, and then you can see internally that there's a handsome engine turning. Now, the twin triggers prevent the buckle from popping open accidentally. The timepiece includes a minderless system. What does that mean? It means there are no strap minders. These are strap minders. They're little loops that hold excess strap length. But what happens here is the excess length tucks underneath the strap in the clasp, creating a clean aesthetic and no requirement for strap minder loops. This is rose gold. It is pre-Sedna rose gold at Omega. So you can see it's a little bit lighter. It's more pink than rose, as Sedna is very dark red. This is more of a medley of rose and yellow. This is very much a pink gold. You can see the lyre style lugs, a famous feature of Omega cases dating back to the early 1960s. We have an outer bevel and inner bevel. The outer bevel is polished. The case band is longitudinally satinated. The crown is recessed to protect it against impact and shearing. It is a screw-down crown. The watch is 600 meters water resistant. Yes, I know 600 meters and 2,000 feet is not a perfect translation of one to the other. The conversion is not accurate, but it is aesthetically pleasing, and every company does it. We have a helium escape valve. So for saturation divers, what you do is you open this valve before you submerge, and then as you ascend, the helium that builds up in the watch during the dive can release itself through the valve. When internal pressure exceeds external by about 2 to 3 bar, the helium starts coming out, provided you have already opened this valve. We have a bezel with recesses in satin finish and outer knurling in polish. It is a 120 click, very sharp and distinct ratcheting bezel. So line up the luminescent pearl with the broad arrow style minute hand, and you have a easy 0 to 60 minute timer. Now you're gonna have to approximate, because it's true, diamonds aren't quite the same as minute hash marks, but you'll have an approximate sense of where you are in the dark as you dive, since it's easy to distinguish the relative position of the bezel pearl and the minute hand, since Omega uses differential lume color for those. You'll also note that the seconds hand is loomed, which should be a universal safety feature of every dive watch. Not sure why everyone doesn't do that. Now you can see we have a broad arrow style of hands, as when it debuted back in 2005, the Seamaster 300 collection didn't exist, and the Planet Ocean was initially the vintage-inspired dive watch collection. So we have rose gold hands, rose gold Omega logo and marquee, rose gold tri-Arabic numerals and hour indices on a rich, glossy black lacquer base. The bezel is gem set, and this is all factory. You can see 4 little pincers, diamond ring style, retain each of these brilliant cut gems. They have identical clarity, carats, and color all the way around, so there's no color or clarity or size gradient. Now the watch does have 2 subsidiary setting modes. There's a little time zone feature that allows you to keep the watch running. Seconds not affected, minutes not affected. Drive the date forward or backwards as you jump east and west. Now, let's say you do want to set the watch to a reference time. You're not merely jumping time zones. You pull the crown out all the way. You activate hacking seconds. You stop the seconds hand. Now you can set it against a reference time. Easy to do. You can see attention to detail is strong. We polished and satinated knurling, and then media blasted and polished on the outer face of the crown. Here we have caliber 8501. That is the version of the 8500 coaxial chronometer automatic that has a solid gold rotor and a solid gold 18-karat balance bridge. So you've got movement components that are solid gold. Now, it's an automatic winder with bidirectional winding action, 2 mainspring barrels, 60-hour power reserve. You can see it has an anti-magnetic silicon hairspring. This watch is effectively amagnetic. The advantage of the 2 barrels isn't so much a long power reserve, though 60 is nice. It's that after, for example, 24 or 36 hours, you don't get a big drop-off in balance amplitude with the more even torque release of 2 barrels compared to just 1. 39 joule movement. You can see it's free sprung with a full balance bridge for shock resistance. It uses the George Daniels conceived coaxial escapement, which is a direct and indirect impulse tangential contact escapement that improves power reserve, chronometry, and reduces the need for maintenance. The watch beats away at a silicon hairspring specific 25,200 vibrations per hour. That's a rate you'll see across Swatch Group watches at almost every price point if they have a silicon hairspring. And you can see a lovely arabesque style of Côte de Genève across the bridges and the rotor. With blackened and polished screws, you can see that the stud holder for the hairspring has been satinated. There's engine turning on the base plate and a handsome bevel. It is machined, but it's nicely executed. This is a machine-finished movement given the price point, but it's very handsome and worthy of a display caseback. It is also a certified COSC Swiss chronometer. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.